Jagradev, Jai Masters. Let's take a subject head on tonight, which I don't know if we've ever done. Everyone talks about the Shakti. We talk about the Shakti in many, many different ways. What is Shakti? In Sanskrit, it means energy, the divine energy, Shakti. But there's lots of energies. They talk about prana, talk about the kundalini, talk about the upward movement that takes you beyond. The reason Shakti is so difficult to talk about head-on is because it's all of those. Just as physics has come down to the quantum field, which is energy, and then they talk about how energy manifests, throws out, acts like, doesn't even throw it out, acts like particles and creates the whole universe. But it's all the same energy. Everywhere throughout the universe. Underlying all of matter, all of form, all of energy, is pure energy. That's what Shakti is. It is that energy. So for example, I talk about the kundalini. Yogis talk about this energy at the base of the spine that can be raised up. All right? That's Shakti. Why is it at the base of the spine? Because it's blocked. It's blocked at the base of the spine. And that's why people have kundalini experiences, which I don't teach anything like that. Forceful kundalini practices and so on, to try and, they call it awakening the kundalini, and then it shoots up, and some people have very high experiences and some people have very bad experiences. There are people that have psychological issues because of the raising kundalini when they're not ready, and it's just a forceful thing they do. So what is that? It's Shakti. Is Shakti blocked? Otherwise the Shakti flows purely up and down. Just completely goes through the entire system from the highest and back through, and that's how Shakti flows, pure. But if it's blocked, it builds up at the base of the spine, and that's what the kundalini is. All right? So now you know. As I told you once, about an experience I had when Baba came here back in 74, 75, and we were going to host him. Nobody was out here then. It was just me and Donna. And there was this master from India coming over. And we asked the guy who was promoting, who was putting it all together, how do you sell a Indian man that doesn't speak a bit of English, who's some kind of a master, a guru? And I'll never forget. He said to me, well, we sell him that he's somebody who can raise the kundalini. Well, I had read about yoga. It was back in 74. And I said, well, a lot of people have raised their kundalini. It never dawned on me that it was saying he would raise other people's kundalini. And so when I met Baba, we went up to Atlanta before he came here, and they call it Shaktipat. When the Guru's energy is so strong, the Master's energy is so powerful. If you hit a tuning fork in a room with crystals, the crystals will vibrate at whatever pitch that is at. And so if somebody's vibrating at a much higher rate and they have some tremendous amount of energy, they can pass it on, and you can vibrate at that rate. But I tell the story in the Surrender Experiment, it was not exactly a pleasant experience. I will never forget it, right? It's just, this energy rose up from the base of the spine, and it wasn't pleasant. It was like the most threatening thing that ever existed in the history of the world. It was like 16,000 tornadoes with 800 million volts shot up, and it was completely out of my control, and I was thrown out of my body. Talk about that. My consciousness was aware that I was no longer seated in my body. And I'm not a mystical person. I don't do that kind of stuff, right? And I meditate a lot, but nothing like that. And I was holding out for life at like a pole way back here. There was flinging back like a flag backwards. And I was doing every single thing I could to live, to survive. It was like a survival moment. But underneath there was 800,000 volts pouring up from below, throwing me out of my body. I don't like to think now, well, what happened if I let go? I don't want to talk about that, right? But the net result is that I held on as tight as I could. I was scared to death, and basically I couldn't do anything. There was nothing I could do to get back in the body. I was trying as hard as I could to get back in the body. I'm telling you, I don't have out-of-the-body experiences. I don't have mystical experiences. I don't have visions. I don't have anything like that. But that was happening, all right? And Baba reached over, and he tapped me on my back. He just went like this, right on the middle of my back. It stopped instantaneously. Fell right back into my body. But when I fell back into the body, my heart wasn't beating. It was fluttering like this. You don't live like that, all right? He reached over, went like that on my chest. It stopped instantaneously. Okay, so that's what you hear about Shaktipat gurus, all this, they raise the Kundalini. So now I knew what it meant. You can raise other people's Kundalini. Okay, all right, so we'll do it a little slower. It made me feel good. Later in my life, I was reading the life of Ramakrishna, a great, great master, and he had a very, very high disciple, Vivekananda, who founded the Vedanta Society. And I tell the story of how Nadan, that was Vivekananda, met Ramakrishna. But at one point, Ramakrishna knew him. He didn't even know him, he never met him, but he knew him from past lives or whatever. And basically, right away, was taking care of him, giving him sweets and treating him like a brother, right? This is just a college kid. And at one point, Ramakrishna took his foot and put it up against Vivekananda's, his name was Nadan at the time, put it up against his heart. And he described the same thing. He got thrown out of his body. Everything was spinning around. The room was spinning around. And he started screaming, no, I have a mother to take care of. And Ramakrishna took his foot off and said, it doesn't have to happen all at once. All right. That's what they're talking about when they talk about the power of the Kundalini. I don't highly advise messing around with it, all right, until you're ready. But when you're ready, you don't have to mess around with it. That's why the deep teachings are what they call Kriya Yoga, not the particular technique, but the yoga of cleansing. There is something blocking all that energy. All that energy is inside of you right now. I know you'd like to have the experience, but what is the purpose of an experience if you talk about it in the past, like I just did? What an experience I had 50 years ago. What matters is your state of consciousness, not some experience you had in the past. And what meaning is that? A story you can tell people and they feel special? So you cleanse the channel through which the Shakti, the blocked Shakti, the Kundalini, I like to use the word, I'm going to use the word Shakti all through this talk, because it's all Shakti. That is Shakti. That Shakti blocked and built up down at the base, down at the first chakra, down below. So basically it can come up. But if you cleanse the channel so that you're capable of staying conscious and centered and clear, as the Shakti comes up, it's not that kind of a sudden, violent kind of experience. It becomes your natural state of being, and you don't have to come back. That's where the great masters are. The great masters aren't ones who went somewhere and came back. Oh my God, I went to heaven and came back. All right? They stay there. They stay there, and they're so evolved that they're able to stay with that much energy and still interact in the world. There's a story of Yogananda. It's funny, I'm talking about Shakti. I'll end up talking about the masters. So what can I do? Yogananda came over in the 1920s, hardly spoke English. The first time he ever gave a talk was on the boat voyage over here. They said, give a talk. You're going to talk at this conference of religions in Boston, representing India. He said that's the first time he ever gave a public speech in English. He could hardly get the words out. So he came over here and he became very famous. He had no money, had nothing, wore a turban in the 1920s in Boston. And he got invited here and invited there. And next thing you know, he's all over the country. And next thing you know, he's teaching in Carnegie Hall. And they said the lines were 3 to 4 times around Carnegie Hall that couldn't get in. And the placard to bring the people in, they said, Swami Yogananda teaches control of the life force. He might as well have said control of the Shakti. Because what you call prana, what you call life force, is the same energy being looked at a different location in a different way. It's all the same energy. It's only one energy. And the meaning of the word Shakti is that primal energy. And we'll talk about the different ways it expresses. So he's there, and there's pictures of him where Carnegie Hall is completely filled. And he's this, Yogananda wasn't tall. He's a short guy standing way far away up on the stage. And he's sitting there talking to all these people. And somebody once asked him, it's a beautiful story. Someone once asked him, you must feel such pride that you came over here with nothing. Vivekananda was one of the first masters to come to America, but he came before Yogananda. But Yogananda was one of the first enlightened beings to come to America. And you must have so pride that you come here, you have nothing, and now you're teaching at Carnegie Hall. And what do you feel when you're standing up there? And what's neat about these masters, and Yogananda was very much that way, he is so sincere in teaching people that he would answer a question like that. Whoever asked it. You have to be some disciple. And he said, no, I don't feel pride at all. He said, what happens to me when I'm sitting there teaching is I'm there, I see that this body is there speaking, teaching to that audience. At the same time, my consciousness is at a higher plane with my deceased guru, Sri Yukteswar, who's teaching very evolved beings that are going to the next plane, and at the same time that all that's happening, my consciousness is expanding throughout the edges of the universe at the speed of light, and all the galaxies in my body. All of that is happening simultaneously. Now, are you enlightened? Watch how you use the word, okay? That's Shakti. Every one of those levels is just Shakti. The universe is made of Chit Shakti, conscious energy. Conscious energy. There's only two forces in the entire universe. It's neat that science has gotten down to the energy. The fact that the entire universe, this room right now, does not exist as it is. It's just vibrations of particles coming out of waves that then have characteristics of magnetism, of this, of that, and they put themselves together. That's what's really here, nothing. And the yogis taught that. The great deep teachings of Buddhism and yoga taught the depth that it doesn't really exist. It's all just energy. And beyond that, it's unmanifest. But we're going to get into that. Okay? So far we're talking about the fact that there's this Shakti. Now, okay, let's not talk about the Kundalini. That's a Shakti blocked. Okay, does that mean you have no Shakti? If you had no Shakti flowing through your body, you're dead. That, unfortunately, we go to doctors that all they know is matter. That's what normal Western medicine is about, and do a very good job of studying matter. But basically, traditional Western medicine doesn't know the word energy, that there's an energy flowing in there. It is that energy that causes your heart to beat. It is that energy that causes your lungs to go in and out. It is that energy that causes cell division. That energy causes every single thing that's going on in that body that's material. It needs energy to happen. Yes, you can eat the food. There are people that are breatharians. They don't eat any food. Right? Yogis go into a breathless state where they exist for days. You can put mirrors under their nose. There's no vapor. There's no anything. They don't eat. All right? Yet they come back. Those are samadhis. They talk about different levels of samadhis that yogis go into. So if the energy is at the lowest possible basal metabolism that can go on in your body, it can exist with very, very little. But your consciousness doesn't have to be there. All right. So now I'm going to come away from the Kundalini, and I'm going to talk about the Shakti. Is it there? Of course Shakti is there. You have Shakti. Have you ever felt love? That's Shakti. Ever felt anger? That's Shakti. Every single thing you experience is a manifestation of Shakti. Let's take a hard one now. Anger. Anger is a terrible thing. How can anger be a manifestation of spiritual energy? Just take it, take the spiritual energy, tremendous power, block it, and have it try to flow past the blockage. I look at it like a stream. There's an ocean. The river comes off the ocean. The river is no different than the ocean. So the Shakti comes down, pours through that, then it goes in the riverbed. It can be very pure. There's no rocks, there's anything. It's very clean. So the flow of the energy is very pure. Now throw some rocks in there, or some humps at the bottom of the ocean. What do you get? Waves, rapids, spray. It starts shooting off the blockage. So the flow of Shakti, when it hits a block, and we'll talk about what the blockages are in a minute, when it hits a block, shoots out. Energy can't be created or destroyed, and energy can't stand still. Energy is a wave. It's always moving. So basically, the only way it can stand still is if something's blocking it. All right? We'll talk about that. But basically, if it hits a blockage, as the Shakti is flowing up, it's always trying to flow up. I don't care if you're the worst person to ever walk the face of the earth. You have that is who you are. You are the divine Shakti, the creation of the universe, attempting to flow up through your blockages. But what if it hits a blockage? It shoots out. That's what anger is. That's what lust is. What happens if it hits a blockage and it can't get past it? It pulls back. Fear, depression, all of those are Shakti. They're just manifestations of this force that's being molded by your blockages. So anger, you see that it's blocked, it's pushing at you, it's trying to go out, isn't it? What does anger try to do? Express itself. What does that mean? Release. Is it easy to sit on top of anger and not do anything? It wants to express itself. It wants to go out. That's what the chakras are about, different centers that it can go out. If you're very, very conscious and you feel that start to build up from below and it hasn't taken over you to where you got lost in it, and so now there's no control, you're completely out of control, the anger is going to express itself, then you come back. Now, I know it's never happened to you, right? You feel it, you're there, stop it, I can't handle this, don't say that, I'm telling you, don't say that. Then they say one more time, they say it, and bam, you go bye-bye. And then you come back, and you see the damage you created. The things you said, the pots and pans you threw. Okay, that is Shakti. All that energy, all that anger, all that lust, all that stuff is Shakti pouring out through different centers. You know enough about the chakras, I don't have to talk about them. If you get scared to death, God knows what you're going to do. There's stories of a 95-pound woman seeing a car fall on top of her child, running out there and picking up the car, picking it up, and the child got out. So that's first chakra, survival. You can fight a lion, right? So when you're at that point and that much energy is focused and all going out in one direction, right? Things can happen, can't they? All right? I've seen pictures of, I don't know if they were monks or what they were, all right? You know, yogis, Buddhists, whatever, where he's a small guy, he's not big, and maybe there's 15 big guys standing back to back with their arms against the other person's back and their feet pushing forward so that nothing can move the power of that pyramid that they've built. And this guy goes up there and goes, bah! They all fall over. Same thing. It's just power, focused energy. The whole martial arts, all that kind of stuff. All of it's the same. I want to use a lot of words tonight because they're all Shakti. If you study martial arts, they don't tell you just go out there and swing and throw it. They tell you be conscious and be focused and put all your power into what you're doing. Traditional judo, martial arts, that kind of stuff is working with energy, bouncing energy. So basically now we have the Shakti blocked at the base and it tries to come up. It's always trying to come up. I understand that. You don't have to make it try to come up. It's always trying to come up, but it's blocked. And like I said, we will spend some time talking about what blocks it shortly. But you understand it's blocked. If it's blocked, it will try to find a way to get out. Energy has to move. And your centers, like your first chakra, is survival. If that's the level that it's hitting at, you could rip somebody's eyes out. And you would never have done such a thing in your whole life. You can't even think of it. It's disgusting, right? But you do it. That energy will find a way out. You become a maniacal maniac. Do you understand me? All right? Second chakra, I never discuss because you all know what I'm talking about. A little bit of energy there. Anybody notice? There could be you're very depressed and all of a sudden, how much does it take? Right? And we're not all the same. But how much does it take to all of a sudden have a whole bunch of energy going somewhere when you're playing around with that stuff? Anybody understand? I won't talk about what stuff. You're grown-ups. All right? Well, that's what lust, that's what all that stuff is. It's Shakti. It's Shakti shooting out, okay? And the fact that what turns somebody else on in that way, turns somebody else off in that way, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with what's going on inside, which is based on your blockages. Look, you could sit there and be totally attracted at every level to somebody and feel all your energy wanting to come out and just cuddle and do everything. Have them say one word the wrong way, you're out of there. There ain't nothing going on. I'm closed now. You should turn me off. Can you get turned on or turned off? Answer me. Can you get turned on or turned off? Isn't that amazing? It's just your blockages shifting, allowing the energy to express itself or not express itself. And a lot of times, even, I talk about first chakra, losing it, you lose it in second chakra. You just, we're funny, aren't we? It's Shakti. It's Shakti. Give it whatever name you want, okay? It is Shakti finding a way out, and you like that, all right? When I was doing prison work, there was this one beautiful, beautiful young man. He was not big, but he would always get in fight. He'd fight all the time. He wouldn't show up to the class because we did meditation, all kinds of stuff. We'd ask him, where have you been? He'd been in lockup. Why are you in lockup? I was fighting. Why are you fighting? He said, I don't care if I win or lose. It's the only enjoyment I get in here. In other words, that lets me release my energy. That's all pent up inside. I don't care if I get beat up. I don't care what it is. That is a moment of letting it out, cleaning it out. It only cleans it out temporarily. Obviously, there was a reason that it was blocked. It's not going to make the blockage go away. It's coming right back. Do you understand that? That's why you kept fighting. It doesn't go away, does it? Because it's building up. So there it goes. And so you're watching the Shakti trying to make its way past the blockage. It's the same energy. That's why you don't judge. You don't judge other people. Okay? It's all about the Shakti. It's all about the energy managing to release or flow. Okay? And then you get up to the higher centers. And I don't like to call it higher. The third chakra is where everybody lives. Everybody lives in the third chakra except some great beings. Well, what's the third chakra? I want people to like me. I want to be popular. I don't want to get old. I want to look good. I want to be accepted. I don't want to be rejected. Blah, 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 blah. Ego. Third chakra is ego. Just my personal self and my self-concept. Anybody got one of those? Anybody notice that if somebody walks up to you and says, oh my God, I've watched you since we were in kindergarten. You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen. I've always been afraid to talk to you. How you doing? How you doing? Well, that's being said. But if somebody walks up and says, what happened to you? You used to look so healthy. You look terrible. Does it or does it not make the Shakti flow or not flow? So don't make fun of all the guys in the lower centers. You're doing the same thing. Do you not spend your time trying to figure out what you need to do to make things be the way you want? And what you mean when you say the way I want is it will make the Shakti flow. Or at least it will make it not flow. You don't like it when it doesn't flow, do you? If it doesn't flow at all, you're depressed. You have no energy, no enthusiasm, no passion, nothing. How's that? A lot of fun? You can't even get out of bed. You can't even clean up. You're totally blocked, and there's not enough energy coming in to give you inspiration, to give you that. The other end is, I can't wait. I got this job. It's so perfect. I can't wait to do it. I'm so excited. I couldn't even tear myself away last night to come home. Now I'm going to get up early in the morning. How would you like to be like that? That's Shakti. That's passion, Shakti, inspiration pouring up inside of you because it made it past your blockages. And you start to understand what's going on. What about that? Is there something higher than me and mine and my preferences and my hopes and my dreams and my desires and my fears? Yes, there is. There's love. What is that? Now you get into the fourth chakra. Now this energy has managed to get past your person. If you're caught in your personal self, you can't feel love. You can feel need fulfilled or the hope of need fulfilled. That's not love. That's the third chakra still managing to express itself. When you make it past you, which is the start of the fourth chakra, all of a sudden, your Shakti flows usually because of somebody else. That you're in the presence of somebody else. Ever been there in the presence of somebody else and all this energy is pouring out? Answer me. Have you ever been in the presence, and I don't care if it's your dog or your horse, you're in the presence of something outside that is stimulating an openness in you, and all of a sudden this energy, beautiful energy, is pouring out of your heart. You give it a name, love. You gave the other one a name, anger. You gave the other one a name, sex drive. You gave another one named lust. You gave another one. You gave names. It's like standing at the wharf in San Francisco and naming the waves. Oh, there's George. There's Harry. Hi, Harry, you came back. These are just all expressions of energy, aren't they? It's the energy making its way out of different centers. If you can get past yourself, you can't love somebody if you love yourself more than them. It's not love. Love is when something is so overwhelmingly beautiful that you forget yourself. You're more interested in the other person and the other thing. And all this energy comes pouring out there. And what happens if they say one word or do one, or don't say one word, or say it with the wrong intonation? You're there saying, oh my God, I love you so much. I've never loved anybody more my whole life. And then there's silence. They don't say anything back. How you feeling? You close so quick. The love's not flowing right now, is it? Or if he says, yeah, I love you too. Oh, I don't think that'll do it. I told you I love you. Get out of here. Okay? You're playing with Shakti. You're playing with what closes the flow and what opens the flow. It's very sensitive, isn't it? It can be open or closed. You can go from love to anger in a billionth of a second. If you sit there and say, I love you so much, do you love me too? I told you. You're sitting there hugging, and you're just melting. You're just melting. Can you melt? You just totally melt into the energy. It's so beautiful. And you just want to look at the person in the face. So you open, normally your eyes are closed, aren't they? Why? Because the Shakti is flowing inside. It pulls you into it. You're learning about Shakti here. You live with it every day of your life. You just don't understand. It pulls you in. You open your eyes, and you notice that he has his cell phone behind your head, and he's looking at stuff. Well, you're melting. All of a sudden, there's some anger comes out, doesn't it? It's the same energy. It's the same energy being blocked instantaneously, hitting that. Boy, you feel a lot of anger then, don't you? You're hitting that block and then shooting out at a lower level. I told the story last time. And you look, how could you? He said, oh my God, I can't believe you look. I'm ordering the most beautiful thing, a trip for us, because I'm going to tell you I want to marry you and I want to get the honeymoon together. All of a sudden you're open again, aren't you? It's like a door that you open and close to the Shakti. All right? And then later we'll do more. That's not even high. What you call love, that's not a high center. It's the lower half of the fourth chakra. If you pierce Ramdas used to call it piercing the fourth chakra. If you get past any sense of yourself, the energy goes into spiritual love, not personal love. It has nothing to do with anybody, has nothing to do with, it just pours into a center that they call it the Hridayam, the heart center. It pours into that center, and if you are high and special enough, it will never go down. Right? You pierce in that center, so it's a beautiful experience you ever had. It's more beautiful than chakras 1, 2, 3, or bottom part of 4. They call it love for God, love for the universe. It's a universal love. It's not personal. Nobody can take it away from you. If the person is sitting there, you can hug and still feel that. And if you look and the world is different than you thought it was, it doesn't touch it. Because it has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. It is all inside. Now, I'm going to stop at this point. That's the fourth chakra. There's 7 of them. It's all Shakti. What happens is as you go higher and higher, it's less blockage. There's not blockages holding that back. And it starts to become pure Shakti. And at some point, which I said I didn't want to talk about, it starts pouring off of you. And that's where people get the Shakti, and that's where people do healing, and people do all kinds of things. You literally can feel it pour out your hand, out your palms. You walk down the hospital corridor, you're not doing anything, and it's pouring out of your hands into every room you walk by, spreading spiritual energy, healing energy. You're not a healer, but Shakti is. Everything Christ, water and wine, and split the bread, and it's all Shakti. It's all manifestation of Shakti. So basically all spiritual energies, which all the great masters tell you not to play with, don't ever play with those. Why? Because whatever level you're at, there's higher. You just keep letting go of you, and it goes higher and higher and higher and higher, until eventually, might as well do it, eventually it comes up high enough, your higher centers, your 6th and 7th chakras, your third eye and the top of your head. There's no personal self there. The Shakti is so beautiful when she flows up there that she pulls you into her. She's intoxicating. Now, you're not controlling her. She's basically bringing you up to her. And you have to let go. Christ said you must die to be reborn. I'm doing the whole thing here tonight. What does that mean, to die to be reborn? You must be willing to let go of your concept of yourself as an individual consciousness. Not just you let go of your stuff. You let go of the witness that's watching the stuff. You all into witness consciousness? I'm watching my stuff. Who is? An individualized consciousness that still knows itself as separate from the universe. It knows itself as the one who's looking at me. Well, that's very nice. It's better than being you, because I don't want to be that. I don't know about you. I don't want to be that which I'm looking at, all right? I don't look so good, all right? But you reach a point of centered consciousness. We call it witness consciousness. Krishnamurti called it objective observation. And then you're able to sit there. No matter what's going on below you, it doesn't pull you down. But you're still individual. You still know yourself as a separate point of consciousness that's watching your personal self. What Christ meant when he said was die to be reborn, as a very, very deep state. You have to be willing to let this, and only Shakti will do it. You can't do it. There's nothing you can do to make that not be separate. But what happens is the Shakti is so high now that she's not pulling you down, she's pulling you up. And you'll actually feel this experience. That's what deep meditation is like. You feel a power pulling you up into it. And you have to be willing to let go of yourself, to let go of all individuality, all duality. And it pulls you up and pulls you up. And even Yukteswar told Yogananda, when he was a great master, he said, that's a very difficult state for even the highest yogis to go by, to let go of this sense of separate consciousness. You can't do it willfully, because then you're really separate. There's no will involved here. It's a question of complete letting go, complete surrender. And then what happens is, Meher Baba is a perfect example. Meher Baba said when he reached that state, his consciousness used to be like a drop of water staring at himself. When he let go, it fell into the ocean. Find it. You'll never find it. Why? It emerges, doesn't it? Union, merger. That's what the word yoga means. The word yoga means union. So when that drop falls into the ocean, then you become, Christ said, my Father and I are one. Christ was a great yogi. That's pretty neat. He said that, didn't he? That's what Meher Baba said. They asked Meher Baba once. Meher Baba was an avatar. He was a high as they come. Said, Baba, who are you? He said, I was in the beginning before all else was created. I will be in the end after all else falls away. There was never a time it was not. There will never be a time it will not be. In other words, that's it. That's what created the universe. That's who you are. That's who you are. All right? But now I got all the way up there without saying what causes the blockages. Okay? Because it's very easy. Because you know what causes the blockages. Why? Because you're doing it. You do it. There's not a single blockage inside of you that you did not put there and that you can't let go of. Well, what does that mean? It means that you are born on this earth. You have this body that was a gift to you. It is not your body. So you should be so embarrassed to say, this is my body. Why? There are 25 trillion living cells that make up your body. Which one of them did you make? Which one of them do you run? You're making your liver. You're not making it, are you? It makes itself. The body is a gift that was lent to you. It wasn't even given to you. When it's time for it to go away, what can you do? Nothing. Did you birth it? Did you make it? No. And so you come to the point you understand that body has dropped down on the planet Earth. How it got here we want to talk about. It's very, very interesting. But it plopped down onto the planet Earth, and your consciousness is in there. Your consciousness has been in there the whole time, period. When you were little, you looked in the mirror. It didn't look like it looks now, does it? But you were looking. You've been conscious in there the whole time. And so basically you're in there. Here's the body. And what's going to happen is experiences are going to happen. The world is a happening place. Every single moment there's experiences going on everywhere. There's not a single place at the bottom of the ocean, at the top of the clouds, all the planets, the galaxies, not a single place that there's not things going on every single spot. But you don't see those, do you? You only get to see the ones that are within the realm of your senses. That's very little. You miss absolutely everything there is. But it comes in. Have you noticed that you can't always handle what's in front of you? Don't raise your hands. Which one of you have ever had a problem handling what's unfolding in front of you? You've never said, I can't handle this. You never said, this is not fair. You never said, no, not on my watch. Okay? Things happen. They come in. Most of them pass right through. I've already told you a million times. You are 99.9% enlightened. What do you mean? Almost every single thing that comes in through your senses throughout your entire life made it right through. Trees, white lines, roads, birds, flowers, clouds, everything. People walk down the street of New York. They're just flowing by. Buildings, everything. It just passes right through, doesn't it? You don't have trouble with it. But then somebody walked by that looks like your girlfriend holding hands with your worker. Well, all of a sudden, that one tiny little thing doesn't pass through. That's 0.01% of what's going on. All right? The rest? All right. Let's take the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, and Bhagavad Gita is deep as they come in the spiritual writings. Arjuna asked Krishna, how will I know an enlightened being if I meet him? Whoa, that's a nice question to ask God. Krishna is the Godhead, right? How will I know an enlightened being if I meet him? He said, you will know him as follows. In joy, he's not overjoyed. In sorrow, he's not oversorrowed. He lets the sense world come in, do what it must, come in when it must, and it leaves him as it found him, at peace, serene, content. Equanimity is yoga. Well, you're that with 99.9% of the things that pass through you, but you ain't that with the 0.1. You understand that? What do you do when something happens that isn't that? You resist it. You push it away. You can't push the experience away because it happened. You don't bother resisting what didn't happen. You bother resisting what happened. You experienced it. First you experience it, and then you decide, no. Well, that's really funny because you can't make it not have happened. Which part of your past that you're having trouble with today, even so, can you make not have happened? I'm waiting. But you can't even handle it, even though it already happened. When it comes back up, you push it back down, don't you? You can't handle it. So certain vibrations come in from the outside. They're supposed to be experiences that you have. You're open. You're not judging. You're impartial. There's no preferences. It's just coming in and passing through. It's feeding you like the water flowing into the ocean. It just is open, it receives it, it comes in. But you can't. You've already got stuff in there. And so something comes in, it hits something that doesn't feel right inside of you. You're not ready to let go, and so you resist it. That's the whole thing. This thing of resistance is so big. You have will in there, and you push it away. You know what I'm talking about. You do it every single day with little things, with big things, with everything, right? If it isn't exactly what fits nicely in you and makes the Shakti flow nice, not to mention it flows disturbed, well, it's disturbed. The Shakti's disturbed because it hit a bunch of stuff, and so it's coming in there all weird. It makes your heart beat faster, makes your breath, come on. It all expresses itself in your physical body and your emotional body and your mental body, doesn't it? And what you do in there, your consciousness, the witness, who's supposed to be just noticing, no, you don't notice, you fight. You sit there and say, what you literally are saying is, it happened, but I don't want it to have happened, and I don't have to fully experience this. Your relationship to that which is coming in disturbing is very different than when you're being hugged by somebody you love. Now I want to melt. Now I want it coming all the way in, don't I? I don't want any thoughts. I don't want any emotions. I just want this energy pouring and bathing me all the way back. You use words like, it touched me to the depth of my being. I felt like I was in the presence of God. That's very different than, I can't handle this. So it's the same energy, right? But you can't handle it. And so you push it away. And when you push it away, it stays inside, and that is what every single one of your blockages is. It's called a samskara in yoga. Every blockage you have that's messing with the Shakti, that keeps it down there, that expresses anger, fear, this, that, opens and closes, it's all because you have stored this stuff inside from before, and you've built this, I was going to say a castle, but it's not quite a castle. You build this protective system where you've got stuff inside of you, and you know you do, that you don't want coming back up. And therefore, when you go out there to those social dating sites and you fill out what's he supposed to or she's supposed to be like, it's your samskaras talking. Do you like that he eats meat? No. Do you like the really tall? No, I've had trouble with tall people because I'm short and they never like me. No. Do you like redheads? No, I had a bad thing. Yes. It's like all you're doing is looking at your samskaras and seeing what you think will open you. That's where your preferences come from. That which you painted right there, oh my God. Don't you think for one moment it's going to stay that way. You won't stay that way, and he or she won't stay that way. Have you noticed yet? Who's noticed yet? Okay, that's why relationships are so difficult. You don't want a relationship with somebody else. You want it with yourself. You want the other person to be what they need to be so that it doesn't hit your blockages. And basically, you also, I have to talk about it, I don't want to, but there's positive samskaras. Don't worry about them. You can have them. Don't worry. That's the last thing you have to get rid of, your positive samskaras. What is a positive samskara? I had a really, really nice experience. I want to have it again. You're in trouble. Why? Because the world doesn't repeat itself. And not to mention, even if it happened again, you've already experienced it. No matter what you tell me, the first kiss is richer than the 15th or the 500th. By then you got to be doing other things. Standing on your head when you're kissing and role playing and come on. Glad you're laughing. So you just get to the point where you understand you've already had the experience. Therefore, it's not going to happen exactly the same. And if it did, you're already used to it. You can't get it back again. But you're trying to. So now you judge everything that's happening against that experience. And therefore, your positive scars are screwing up just as much your negative. Because they won't let you have spontaneous experience. You don't want to sit there and say, okay, let's try something new. Or if you do, you define, believe me, you define new based on something. Oh, well, I tried some new ones before to do this. You're too much in control. So, but the spontaneity of a new experience, of a sudden kind of thing, lets you open. It lets it open, if it's good, right? And if it's good, you want it to happen again, now you're screwed up. It's like going to a restaurant and having a wonderful, oh my God, this was so perfect. The special was perfect, the chef was perfect, the music was perfect. There weren't too many people at the tables around me, nobody was smoking. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. That whole bunch of vegetarian specials, even a vegan and everything, right? So you get your friends together, like, let's go to a restaurant. Don't do it. There'll be different specials, there'll be a different chef, there'll be different people there, there'll be different music, right or wrong. And you'll be sitting there saying, oh, last time. Am I exaggerating? So basically you're trying to make it happen again. Positive scars screw you up, negative scars screw you up, so you stored all this stuff in here. That's what's blocking your Shakti. That is what's keeping you from my Father and I are one. That's what's keeping you from spontaneous meditation that is effortless, that you just sit down and all of a sudden this energy comes pouring up inside of you nicely, and you just melt into it and takes you into these beautiful states. I don't understand. People, again, meditation is wonderful. I'm not a meditation teacher. I meditate. I'm a teacher of what you do when you're not meditating. Other people are meditation teachers. So by all means, find meditation that works for you. I'm serious. Don't ever think that I'm teaching that you shouldn't meditate. But you're not meditating 24/7. The rest of the time is as important, if not more important. Why are you not in a meditative, open state, passionate, filled with love all the time? Because of these blockages. If you get rid of the blockages, it's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be more beautiful. So basically, you get to the point where you understand you did this. And you do it every moment of your life. You do it with the car in front of you. It's not driving the way you want it driving. You do it with the weather. You're sitting on a planet and there's a star shining on you, thank God. And you're sitting there complaining every single second about it, unless it's exactly the temperature you want it to be. So you wake up and you realize the spiritual path is all about Shakti. But you messed up your own Shakti because you blocked it. It's not that you need to find the girlfriend or the perfect job or the perfect this or perfect that. Those are just your attempt to say, I'm blocked. There are certain things out there that I think will help me open. Why are you closed? Why are you not working on why you're closed instead of working on manipulating everybody to be the way you want them to be when you're closed, so you don't feel closed when you're closed? I don't know how to say it, but you get it, don't you? That's the difference between working outside and working inside. And eventually you start to catch on that if you don't store this stuff inside of you, there's more Shakti. There's more flow. It's more open. If it's hot out and you're complaining about the heat and you just bother stopping, like I teach you, stop. We'll use positive thinking. You stop and you sit there and say, talk to him. Talk to your lower self. Don't beat your lower self up. Don't. It's not going to do any good at all. Suppressing it, renouncing it, beating it up. The Gita says one should raise the self with self, not trample down the self. You need to raise all these energies up. So how do you do that? He's in there complaining about the heat, all that stuff going on, and you stop. Why is it hot? You're smart people. And he says, because the sun is hot. How far away is the sun? 93 million miles away. How far away is Miami? 350, 360? If all of Miami was on fire, you would not feel it up here. That thing's 93 million miles away, and you're complaining. How hot must that thing be? 93 million miles away, and you're feeling it here. You should be marveling. And you should sit there and say, thank God, because there's food at Publix. There wouldn't be without that thing shining. Everything, use your intellectual mind, your higher mind, not your personal mind. The higher thought processes can help free you from your lower self. And you do it all the time. Just do it all the time. You're not getting sunburn, you're getting star burned. Who doesn't like stars? And that star, I told you, I can't help myself. I do it every lesson, right? Did you know that 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun? 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And you're down here in this tiny little piece of dirt complaining and this and that. It's got to be exactly what your blockages are, right? Why are you not marveling that there's trees here? There's nowhere else we've seen anything. So the sun's 93 million miles away. The next star is 4.2 light years away. But that doesn't mean anything to anybody. So I tell you, here's a light year. You ready? Hold a light beam above the planet Earth. Let it go for 1 second. It just circumnavigated the globe 7.5 times in 1 second. Is that fast enough for you? Now do that every second for 4.5 years. You get to the next star. There's 300 billion in your galaxy. And there's 2 trillion galaxies. And all you can do is complain. This is called raising yourself. All right? And what's going to start to happen is all of a sudden the heat from the sun will turn you on. What do you mean? You'll feel Shakti while you let go of the blockage. You get to do that all the time, all day. You get to neutralize the negativity of what you stored inside. And then what happens, the energy, don't put new stuff in there. That's the first thing to do. Don't put new stuff in there. It's bad enough you got all this other stuff in there. You got a lot of stuff in there, don't you? It's bad enough. So you don't know how to deal with it. That's fine. Don't put the car in front of you there. Don't put the heat there. The fact that you said hello, hey, Sally, and she didn't turn around and say hello. Come on, man. There's 8.3 billion people on the planet Earth. They didn't say hello either. Use your higher mind to let go of this garbage. I'm telling you, they write me from all over the world, in essence saying it works. Of course it works. How can it not work? You're filled with joy. You're filled with ecstasy. You're filled with love. That's who you are. But you've blocked it. Stop blocking it. So you do that by during the day, don't put more in there. In the morning, think, the purpose of this day is to go through the day and not store more stuff. And you play with it. It's a video game. Play with letting go. Play with letting go. At night, how'd I do? Probably not too good. So I need to let go of some more. So you relax, release. It's all about relaxing. If you can relax in the face of what you want to resist, you can't resist. It's judo. If it comes at you and you let go, it falls past you. Let this stuff go. And eventually you will get to a point, you will start to cleanse inside spontaneously. Because you're not putting more on top of it, you'll just be driving down the road and you'll see a sign or somebody will say something and stuff will start coming up. You used to push it back down. But now that you learn to let go, you know better than pushing it back down because you want the Shakti. You become a lover of Shakti. You become a Shakti-holic. Okay? And you start loving that spiritual energy that's coming up. And so now you say, do I want to push this back down? But yes, it's painful. It was stored with pain. It's coming back with pain. Let it go. Relax. Relax through it. And little by little, you'll be removing those blockages and more Shakti will flow inside of you. And she becomes your teacher. Muktananda once said, life is your guru. Shakti is your guru. She will show you where you're screwing up. If you're open and you feel love, why do you close? You were just with somebody, you feel tremendous love, you go out there, it doesn't take you 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 seconds before you close again. Why? I thought you liked the love. Why did you stop? Because you don't know how not to close. You learn to let go. You learn to let go. And you realize the beauty inside of you is more beautiful than anything that can happen outside of you. And you start listening to it. And you start literally, you become a devotee of the Shakti. You just say to her, I love your flow, and I will live a life that allows you to flow. I'm willing to die to be reborn. I'm willing to give of myself so I can experience this beauty. And she will take you the whole way. She will take you to the highest possible state you could possibly go to. You just keep letting go, letting go, letting go. Right? There. Did we talk about Shakti tonight? You're a being of Shakti. You're a great being. You're a being of great light. But you've blocked it. So let it go. Just let go. Oh, Jagradav.